What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown, and if you're new here, welcome. The Atlanta Falcons pulled off another huge upset this year, this time against the San Francisco 49ers. Even though this year has been really disappointing, this win was absolutely huge for us. But why is that? Let's talk about it. We only have 5 wins this year, and 2 of them were on the road against the top 2 NFC teams. This win against the 49ers, however, I think means a lot of things, and these are the reasons on why this win was huge for the Atlanta Falcons. 1. When the Falcons have a reason to play the game, they'll play at their best. The reason they wanted to win against the 49ers is to get revenge on Kyle Shanahan, and see, no matter how long the flight is, or how loud the crowd is, or how good the roster is, they'll still win the game, because they want to get revenge. The Saints game at New Orleans was not just some weird upset. No, they had a reason to win that game. They want to fight for Dan Quinn's job for whatever reason. This game against the 49ers, I think, solidified that this team is willing to win, but only if they want to, which is not good, because you need to want to win all of the games, darn it. They need to find some type of motivation next year so they can be motivated to play. Hopefully, getting revenge on your former offensive coordinator is good enough. But 2, Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff probably saved their jobs. If you walk away from a disappointing season, but still beat the 2 teams you wanted to beat the most, I just don't see how Quinn and Dimitroff will leave. The team loves them. They want to win the important games to keep them in Atlanta. I still think this is a mistake to keep them, but they're probably going to stay for at least 1 more year. 3, there can't be any more excuses for this team. Injuries don't matter anymore. We're beating teams like this anyway. The Falcons still have that Super Bowl roster. Next year, I believe it's their last chance. No excuses. You gotta get it done. 4, an aggressive offseason is needed. We're picking really high in the draft, and we still have some cap space left. We can probably get rid of our safeties and Devontae Freeman as well to make more room for better players, to be honest. We need to be aggressive if we want to go out and win it all. This is not a rebuilding process, clearly. Not yet. This year might have sucked, but it was a success at the same time. We're kind of finding out who this team really is, and there's a little bit of work to do, but not much. Next year, I think, is our last chance before the window closes. Let's try and get it done. But now that I gave up my thoughts on that, I'm going to answer mailbag questions like I want to do every Tuesday. I'm trying to keep that going. Just a quick, recap of how these work is every Friday on my YouTube community tab or my Twitter at Rise Up Rundown, I'll ask for mailbag questions, and you guys reply with a question, and I'll try and get to all of them by Tuesday like I'm doing right now. If I missed a question, I do apologize, but let's just answer the ones I have right now. Starting with Pairwinder Car, I don't really know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry about that, man. And Nicholas can't pronounce anyone's name apparently. Nicholas Cotent. Who should the Falcons trade for? There's players that I think would be interesting, because Von Miller I don't think is doing very good in Denver right now, so that'd be interesting if he went to Atlanta. Because the Falcons need, I literally made a video of this last week. I said that the Falcons need an elite pass rusher. Getting someone like Von Miller or J.J. Watt would be really helpful. So I guess the answer is maybe they should trade for Von Miller. Will it happen? Probably not, but that'd be awesome. The Unknown Gem asks, do you think you'll be a better head coach than Dan Quinn? I'd like to think that, but not for the life of me, no. I think Dan Quinn is by a landslide a better head coach than me, but that'd be really interesting if I was. Alexander Willie asks, do you expect Ritt to be an elite receiver like Julio or Hopkins in a few years? Unfortunately, no. I don't think Calvin Ridley is going to be like Julio Jones or DeAndre Hopkins good. I will say this, though. He kind of reminds me of Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju was not Antonio Brown good, and he never will be. But he's a good enough receiver. Like, he's a good enough top receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers to where the Steelers don't, really have a question mark at that position. That's what I think Calvin Ridley is. Like, if Julio Jones leaves, Calvin Ridley will not be at Julio Jones's level, but he's good enough to not have a question mark at the receiver position for the Falcons, if that makes any sense. Jazzy Jeff Real Talk and Rayon Soisi, man, I'm having trouble pronouncing everyone's names here. What should the Falcons do with Keanu Neal when he returns from injury? And what about Ricardo Allen? I think you need to get rid of both of them. Ricardo Allen has kind of been pushed around this year. I'm seeing him blow coverage a lot, and he's just kind of, dare I say, weak out there. Like, he's getting kind of destroyed by every defender. And Keanu Neal has back-to-back injuries. So I think it's time to get rid of those guys. You know, I love their story. I like that they're trying to fight these injuries and come back to play for their team. But I just don't think you should keep them. I think it's time to honestly maybe even go for safety in the draft. Maybe the Falcons should go for safety in the second or third round. I think in the first round you should try and go for either offensive lineman or defensive lineman, but safeties could definitely be needed in the second or third round. Rise Up ATL, Zachary Stone, and Nato Apps ask, basically, should the Falcons get a running back in the draft and release Devontae Freeman? You would think now they definitely need to get rid of Devontae Freeman. He's just... Man, I love Devontae Freeman both on and off the field, but he's just not going to cut it anymore. I really want to see them develop Ito Smith and Quadri Ollison because they drafted them for a reason. And also running backs, they just don't really last that long in the NFL. And to say that Devontae Freeman will last more than 5 years in Atlanta as a running back, that's a little bit to ask for. So I think you do need to get rid of Devontae Freeman. He should go somewhere where I think the team really needs a running back, because the Falcons have running backs, but they decide not to develop them and keep Devontae Freeman, who should be somewhere else. But should we draft a running back? If we are to do so, I would wait till like the 7th round, because I don't think running back is like a big need. I still think you can try and develop Ito Smith. If Ito Smith and Quadri Ellison don't work next year, then fine. Yeah, we should go for a running back. But I would still give them another chance. So, I don't know if we should aim for a running back, but I do think we need to release Devontae Freeman. Darius Sloan asks, who would you get in next year's draft? To be honest with you, I don't really know. I haven't really looked into this year's draft, but I would definitely... The position I would try and get, at least in the first round, is either at defensive end or offensive line. I am looking more towards defensive end, so if Chase Young is selected, I'll probably hope that they still get someone like him. Rayante Suisi asks, who should replace Dan Quinn if he was fired? Josh McDaniels, I think, would be a good fit. I think he should also, first off, develop the run game instead of Dirk Cutter and Dan Quinn. Also, I think offensive-minded coaches work better in this year's league, whether you want to believe it or not. So I guess Josh McDaniels would be a good move. I still think Lincoln Riley would be really awesome, even though I will kind of admit that he'd maybe be better for a rebuilding team. But I wouldn't complain if Lincoln Riley moved here. Jim Harbaugh has been really successful in the NFL and in college, so it's not really all that crazy to say he could do well here in Atlanta. So I guess my 3 best head coaching candidates is Jim Harbaugh, Lincoln Riley, and Josh McDaniels. Who would I choose out of all of them? I guess Josh McDaniels. Mark Jones asks, do you think the Falcons should start looking for a different backup quarterback? Absolutely. I don't know anyone in this world that believes in Matt Schaub and Matt Sims. And if Matt Ryan goes down, the season is over. I know I kind of made the whole... There can't be any more excuses for this team, but, I mean, that's kind of a good excuse because Matt Schaub is not the answer. So, yeah, you definitely need to get a quarterback to back up Matt Ryan. And then, at Dominique Roseberry asks, if you have one savage thing to say to Kyle Shanahan, what will it be? The weird thing is that I actually kind of like watching the 49ers this year because they have a fun roster, but I guess it would be, you owe us an apology. I don't know if that's savage, but you definitely owe us an apology. You owe us an apology for what was it? 2nd and 10 and we did not run it. We like went for the pass and we got sacked and we were out of field goal range. You owe us an apology, man. Anyway, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will try and make a video this Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. We're going to play our last home game of the season versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. We should win that game. We'll see what happens. But hope to see you guys this Friday. Hope to get the dub this Sunday. And as always, rise up.